So, hello guys, and welcome to Sunday. I hope you've had a good week so far. I always say that, but I hope you have. And today is Sunday, that means Archetype of the Week. I did Card of the Week yesterday, and now it's Archetype of the Week. Now, with Archetype of the Week, it won't be completely random. I'll kind of look into the lesser archetypes, some archetypes that aren't used so much these days. Maybe some archetypes that are currently used in the meta, but probably older archetypes. And we'll just have a little discussion about them, just talk about them quickly. I'll kind of go over them in general, where they've come from and stuff like that, how good they are. And that's going to be like Archetype of the Week. So let's get straight into it, and first Archetype of the Week is going to be Fortune Ladies, or Fortune Lady as it says here, but it's the Fortune Ladies archetype. Now, these are quite commonly picked as a kind of archetype that just isn't that great. It has some nice cards, but isn't that great. And it's pretty much true, but let's kind of go into it straight away. Here, Fortune Ladies is an archetype of spellcast type monsters, which are also upgraded versions of the Fortune Fairy monsters. They are used by Carly Carmine while she was a Dark Signer in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D series. Now, the Fortune Fairy monsters are these guys, and Carly Carmine is this girl. Now, if you watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, then you'll know what I'm talking about, but this is kind of just a quick overview. Basically, Carly Carmine is a reporter, kind of Jack addict, and just loves Jack, and eventually turns a bit evil. I'm not going to go into it, but basically becomes a Dark Signer. And her cute little Fortune Fairy monsters, which she uses here, that are only anime, they weren't actually made into real cards, they're only for the anime, turn into the Fortune Ladies. And that's just a pretty quick overview of you can look into it more on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki site, or just watch the series and you'll kind of find out more. But basically that's what Carly Carmine is the owner of the Fortune Ladies, and originally were the Fortune Fairies, which are kind of cuter child versions of the Fortune Ladies. Now let's get a bit more into it. So if I scroll down here, each Fortune Lady has a different attribute and level from 1 to 6, and that's their kind of key thing. You know, every deck kind of has a key part of that deck, or key kind of talent, you could say, in that deck. This is their kind of main effect that they all have. Like Madolches have the returning to the deck, this is the one that all the Fortune Ladies share. Is each Fortune Lady has an attribute and level from 1 to 6. And all ladies are spellcast type effect monsters with a question mark in attack and defense. Now, this question mark attack and defense changes corresponding to the level. Some start off high levels and get more attack from the amount of level, and some start off lower levels and get less attack from the amount of levels they have. For instance, Fortune Lady Light here is a level 1, and she receives attack and defense equal to her level times 200. And during each of your standby phases, which is a Fortune Lady effect they share, increase the level of this card by 1 to a maximum of 12. Now that's what they share, but they do differ on the amount of attack they receive from their level. For instance, Fortune Lady Dark here receives 400 from her attack and defense, but obviously she starts off as a level 5, so she's a bit harder to get out. And, well, that's the basic difference. So she receives a bigger increase. Kind of fair. Lower levels have lower attack. It kind of keeps the same with the level kind of system. So let's get further in to the Fortune Ladies here. Now, a lot of people who try to play Fortune Ladies tried to play the pure Fortune Lady deck, which resolves, as they say here, around the hit and fade strategy, resolving around the field spell, which I'll go into in a little bit. And that basically resolves around increasing the levels of their monster so they can hit quite a large amount of damage, but also use their effects to kind of swarm the field, because they have a lot of good cards that can help them with this kind of field spell and stuff like that. So I'll keep going, and I'll get into that in a bit, but the next thing I want to go is the timing effect, which you should go over if you're going to do this archetype. it's quite key to know that using Fortune Lady's effect, it must be the last action to trigger on the resolution chain, or it will miss the timing and lose its effect. Now this is a really key card, because I remember seeing iTokyo Rob talk about going to, I think it was possibly a YCS or just one of his tournaments, and a Fortune Lady player he played against beat him, which is quite shocking. But he beat him mainly because he didn't know about this miss of timing. The Fortune Lady player didn't either. And what he used was the card Magical Dimension. Now this could be an amazing card if this whole miss of timing didn't activate. Basically, I'll bring up Fortune Lady Light here for you so you can read her effect. When this card is removed from the field by a card effect, you can special summon one Fortune Lady monster from your deck. So in essence, if you had a Magical Dimension, you tribute the Fortune Lady Light using Magical Dimension, then that would be sent to the graveyard, then you'd get to special another Fortune Lady or Spellcaster from your hand, then you get to pop one on the field, and then you would also get to special summon another Fortune Lady from your deck. And that's basically too good to be true. Fortune Lady Light's effect would miss the timing because it doesn't happen at the end, the destruction effect happens instead, so that's why Fortune Lady Light misses her timing, and that's very key to a lot of effects to be used in correspondence with Fortune Lady Light. Obviously cards like Dark Hole and other cards along those lines like Mirror Force and stuff, Fortune Lady Light will get an effect, and it's really useful, and it's a really useful effect. Obviously it's got quite low attack, so obviously you take a lot of damage in some senses, and it's having her face up on the field can cause it just her to be run over. If you can keep her on the field, she can have a really useful effect. And learning how to use that effect is quite key in how to using Fortune Ladies. Again, this goes into the field spell Future Visions, which is necessary to try and use Fortune Ladies to their full advantage if you're using a purely Fortune Lady deck. For example, they give you Fortune Lady Water to draw 2 cards and keep constant hand advantage, and Fortune Lady Earth for another beat stick, Fortune Lady Fire to destroy an opponent's monster. All these effects can be used with the Future Vision spell card, which I'll go over in a bit. Now, they then have another section here on the Yugioh Wiki about recommended cards, which they do with all the archetypes. And a lot of the recommended cards are really useful. The cards here that I'm going to go into quickly is Earthbound Immortal Asla Piscu, I think is how you pronounce it. That's effect is when it leaves the field, you get to destroy all monsters on the field, and your opponent takes 800 points of damage. I think it's all monsters. 800 points of damage for each. So using the effect of the field spell, which I now will go into, the field spell effect basically is when you or your opponent normal summons a monster, that monster is instantly banished and then comes back during your next standby phase. Or obviously if your opponent comes back during their next standby phase. And that can be really useful. It can stop swarms with decks, other players' decks, and it can be really useful for Earthbound Immortal here, and Beast King Barbaros, because Beast King Barbaros, when Future Summons activates, basically he'll come back with his 3000 attack. Really useful effect. And it also corresponds with the other spell card, which is, let me go and find it here, which is Fortune's Future. Fortune's Future's effect is basically you get to pick one of your removed from play Fortune Ladies and then put it back into your graveyard and then draw 2 cards. Now obviously if you summon one of your Fortune Ladies with Future Visions on, you then get to instantly draw. Really useful effect. Again, you can use them with cards like Allure of Darkness and Gold Sarcophagus. Again, you have Fortune Lady Dark. She's a dark, use Allure of Darkness. It's a really useful way of basically using Fortune Ladies. Now if I would go down here, they have the other type of Fortune Lady decks, which are the ones that mix. There's Fortune Lady Crowd Control here, there's Fortune Lady's Pure, there's Zero Fortune, which uses Absolute Zero, there's Future Town, which uses Gear Town, there's Fortune Sigmorph, which uses Dark Sigmorph to lock down your opponent, and basically Fortune Ladies do have a lot of offer. I've seen some try and use them with E-Heroes because with that field spell you use the Miracle Fusion. No, not Miracle Fusion, sorry. The E-Hero Fusion spell, which I can't remember. God, sorry guys, that's showing some of my lack of knowledge coming into my brain sometimes, but I know you know what card I'm talking about. It banishes if you banish your attribute monster and another E hero, that means you then get to use the draw power and then draw in, send your banished Fortune Lady back into your grave. You'll be able to use her later with other E heroes, and you get to draw 2 cards. Really useful effect. Here are the weaknesses though, and Fortune Ladies do have quite a huge weakness, and here it is. Even though the Fortune Ladies have an immense amount of draw power and grow in strength with each passing turn, their effects can be easily ruined through simpler cards such as Forbidden Chalice, Skill Drain, and Gladiator Beast War Chariot. And that's the biggest downside to Fortune Ladies. They can just be beaten by a few cards that are just commonly used in today's meta, and that's why Fortune Ladies couldn't get going as quickly as some other decks that can just handle these other cards. They also tend to rely on summoning, as they must be summoned either from the graveyard, through dark. So if the swarm starts too late, it can be very difficult to win, and it's true they can be difficult to win against swarm decks, because swarm decks just overrun them because they can't be as quick. They're quite a slow deck in a lot of senses. So they do have some quite big weaknesses, but I still like them, and they're still quite a fun deck to play. These are probably 2 cards that are key to the Fortune Ladies. Water's also pretty powerful, it allows you to draw, but Dark and Light here are 2 quite key cards for the deck. This allows you to special summon a Fortune Lady from your deck, really useful, and this allows you to special summon from your grave. And these 2 are probably the biggest and most important cards in the Fortune Lady deck, monster-wise. They have other spells and traps, but these are the biggest monster-wise. And I recommend these being in your Fortune Lady deck if you're going to use it. Also water, probably. Yeah, these are really key cards, guys, and I'd use them in your Fortune Ladies. So, that's Archetype of the Week, guys. That is Fortune Ladies. I hope you've enjoyed Archetype of the Week. I'll be doing this every week. But let's get talking going about Fortune Ladies. Do you think they were a good archetype when they came back, have just been caught up by the meta and just won't work anymore like a lot of decks do? And what else do you know, any good combos, any deck recipes that you think? I'll be uploading a duel with Fortune Ladies after this, which will be the Archetype duel, which I'll do every week. But yeah, guys, what do you think about Fortune Ladies? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Do you think they're just dull, or just... Yeah, let's talk about Fortune Ladies. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and see you around. Cheers.